Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Let the record show it is 6:01. Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call?
Chair Bangle,
Here.
Commissioner Payne, Commissioner Bowen, Commissioner Ackerman,
Here.
Commissioner Faust.
Here.
So we have 4 here. For the Pledge of Allegiance, let's break in the new commissioner. Let's ask Mr. Payne to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if he doesn't mind. Okay, so the first order of business is selection of chair and vice chair. We do this every year. So I'm looking for nominations for chair. And if I don't hear any, I'm going to go ahead and nominate Bill Ackerman as chair.
Accept.
Can I get a second?
I second.
We have a first and a second. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll vote. Those in favor of Mr. Ackerman being the chair, raise your hand. 4-0. Next, we have selection of vice chair. Do we have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Faust.
We have Commissioner Faust. Do you accept?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a nomination. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close it. Ask for the vote. Please raise your hand for Mr. Faust being vice chair. Congratulations, gentlemen. Now it's up to you, Bill, if you'd like to stay there or come on over here and we'll switch seats.
We'll let you finish the meeting.
Yeah, okay. And it's my pleasure because we have a very special person here this evening, someone I've known for probably a decade or so. And he's here with us today, our vice chair, Tom. And I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan so he can guide us on what to do.
Yes, I just wanted to introduce this special recognition for outgoing Commissioner Tom Gidroyce. He's one of the original Parks, Recreation, and Trails commissioners. He's been working with me for the last 5 years, half a decade, in the city of Menifee, and made a lot of contributions to the city in the formation of this commission, formation of the first Parks, Trails, and Recreation Open Space Master Plan. A lot of different contributions, a very, very great volunteer and ambassador for the city of Menifee. So I just want to recognize all of his contributions to the city and hope he still stays engaged. And we have a really nice plaque to present to him as he finishes his term as commissioner. So if the commission pleases, we can all come around and present the plaque to him and take a photo.
Community services, you guys are absolutely awesome. I mean, everything you do is always exceeding everybody's expectations, and then you top yourself again. So it's great. So thanks so very much. Great team, great support from you over the thank you so much. You've made it easy for all of us. So your mic back. All right.
Okay. Appreciate your patience, thank you. Also, I'm pleased to announce we have a new commissioner, Mr. William Payne. Normally, we don't like to put people on the spot. Well, I do like to put people on the spot. So we're going to ask you to talk a little bit about yourself, why you joined the commission, and a little bit of your history, and you have the mic.
Okay, well, thank you, Commissioner. My wife and I actually moved out into the area from Huntington Beach in 1987. We originally moved to Temecula, then to Lake Elsinore, and we're currently, for the last 10 years, have been here in Menifee. As far as my career, I started it in the city of Huntington Beach, ended it in Lake Elsinore. I was involved with city government as an operations manager. I had experience with harbors and beaches, park, tree, and landscape, public works, lake operations, and the stadium. So I got a little bit of experience. I hope to be able to use that to help the quality of life here in the city with the Parks and Recreation and Trails Commission. As far as education, I've got a bachelor's in management that I got from Azusa Pacific. I've got a associate's from San Jacinto College in business, and then I've got a couple of fun certificates that I received. I went to Cal State Poly Pomona and got a certificate in landscape technology, and then I've got one in audio engineering that I got at San Jacinto because I love music, and I'm actually doing the sound broadcast mix for one of the local churches. So that's pretty much, I've married for 45 years, have 3 grown children and 8 grandchildren. So, and thank you to the staff. You've been very accommodating. I appreciate you guys spending time. I know I was in Mariana's office this week and had a few questions, and all of you gave me a real good orientation, and I appreciate that. And look forward to being part of a team with you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, welcome, Bill.
When did you leave Lake Elsinore?
I've been retired 15 years, so
Okay.
I've got, things have changed a lot in 15 years. Pickleball didn't exist, so
Right.
I've got a little catching up to do, so.
I thought maybe you left because of Jonathan Skinner. I don't know, just a long shot. Okay, moving on, we have approval of minutes. We're looking for a motion for the December 1st minutes.
I so move to approve the minutes.
We have a
I'll
motion,
Second that.
and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Minutes passed. I was joking around a little earlier. You need to switch your 2 nameplates. I thought that would be funny. I don't know. It's been a long day.
Still not bright.
So we have a new employee today, Deputy City Manager Jonathan Nix. Do you want to talk about, let's see, where was I? I lost my place. Oh, agenda approval or modifications.
Yes, I would like to request one modification. I would like to move agenda item 9.3, the Paloma Wash pedestrian bridge conceptual design, up to our first discussion item. We have a full team from our Public Works Department and some consultants here, so I want to make good use of their time and have them present first.
Is there any opposition to that? Okay, you have the stage.
Oh, Chair, I believe we'd have to open up the public comments first for.
Oh,
number 8.
forgive me. Look, I'm leaving, I'm already forgetting what to do. Bear with me for a minute. Do we have any public comments, non-agenda items today?
No public comment.
Thank you. So now it's time to move on.
Yes, sir. If you allow me, I will go right into the next discussion item.
Very good.
So I'd like to introduce our Public Works Director, Nick Fiddler, to discuss the Paloma Wash pedestrian bridge conceptual design.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Bangle and Commissioners. If I could please get the PowerPoint presentation. Maybe not this one. Hold on. Oh, okay, they missed a few slides here. All right, Commissioners, tonight we do have, as Jonathan mentioned, I am Nick Fidler, Public Works Director. We do have a group for the consultants that are with us today. The city has contracted with Engineering Resources of Southern California to prepare the designs for the new pedestrian bridge. And then with them, we also have STK Architecture, who will be providing the presentation. And at this time, I'm going to turn over the presentation to Camille Action to provide the presentation, and we'll be available for questions afterwards.
I'm going to move this down a little bit. Good evening. First of all, we would just like to thank you for the opportunity to work on this project. It's a great project, and we've really enjoyed it, and for the opportunity to share with you where we are at this point in the project. The design team is made up of, the lead is Engineering Resources, and we have with us Lori Askew, who's the project manager. We are from STK Architecture. I'm Camille Acton, the project architect, and this is Joni Romano. She's the project manager from STK. We have, to this point, had a lot of help on the design team, including the city staff. Too many to mention, but this is who we have with us today. So this sheet that says design approach, I think you have it in your packet, and if you want to pull that out, that kind of serves as an outline for the presentation that we'll be going through, and we thought the best way to show you where we are is to take you through the process by which we got there. So this is a good outline for what we'll be taking you through in the presentation. So the first thing we did in order to identify, understand, and define the project or the program was to figure out what the function of the bridge is to be. And we were guided by the city to create a pedestrian bridge at Paloma, over the Paloma Wash, which connects Central Park to Hahn Road, connecting the functions of Central Park to the Menifee Countryside Marketplace, so that part of the location of the entry point is actually near the crosswalk that goes from Country Marketplace to Hahn Road. So this will serve both pedestrians and bicycle circulation to meet those two important parts of the city. Secondly, in understanding the program, we wanted to create a symbol for the community, a landmark of sorts, with visual portals connecting the two parts of the community, and then incorporating some design continuity with the rest of the city to sort of establish a sense of place that supports the city identity. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a worldwide icon like the St. Louis Arch or the Golden Gate Bridge, but you get the idea that if we create something that not only meets the function, but also serves as a symbol of the city, it's something that's a little bit memorable and something to be proud of for the city. The third part of identifying the program is to fit the project into the context of the park, which is nearby, and the future amphitheater. So we used that park and future amphitheater as part of the design inspiration. And then also the city's specific plan and design standards that are already in place. We looked at the context of that country marketplace across Hahn Road, the natural context and the regional context of the nature, and then just building features in the area. So those were all what we used to inspire the symbolism that we created with the bridge. And then the next part of that, part one, is also part of the context, and that is to look at the amphitheater, especially for materials and forms that we'll use to design the bridge. Also, simultaneously, we needed to research and prioritize the parameters of the project, the constant parameters like the technical fixed restrictions and standards that came from municipalities, from the city itself, and then variable parameters, guidelines that were just more desires or fluid guidelines. The technical and municipal requirements were actually quite detailed in terms of encroachment into the wash, the clearance heights, Riverside County Flood Control and Water Conservation District, they require a 15-foot clearance, so that was a parameter that we must follow. And then encroachments also, accommodations for maintenance vehicles and so forth. And then also, the city requirements for use of the bridge, we needed to observe heights for the shade structure itself. The location, we feel, was optimized to connect the functions of the community, optimize the distance that we would be spanning, the elevations of the adjacent areas, and then just the connections within the city. We are going to be available, there was a lot to unpack there. We're going to be available to answer more specific questions about the parameters when the presentation is finished. Now, we did explore alternative solutions, many alternative solutions, and it has been narrowed down, but we studied structural materials. We looked at the possibility of wood, of concrete, of cable suspension. We did come down to, for a lot of different reasons, we came down to a steel truss system, and we came down to 2 truss styles. Based on the spans and the engineering and the maintenance of the bridge, we have sort of a box truss called the Warren truss and a bow truss, which is the arched version. So we came down to those 2 options with all of the considerations that I mentioned and more. We also looked at options for entry points, and all of the parameters were taken into consideration when we finally decided on the entry points of the bridge. In exploring the alternative solutions, we also looked at the finished materials and detailing. We gave options for the walking surface or the bicycle surface, for the guardrail details, the lighting details, and we did look to community standards, the context, and what would be appropriate in the area, also cost effectiveness and functionality for all of those decisions. And then we made adjustments to the concepts, to the initial concepts based on the city review. So this is an actual sketch of an adjustment we made, one of many. We also, besides the entry points and the plazas, we made adjustments to the sunshades, the lighting, the materials, transitions, the heights, the circulation, what we might provide for event opportunities, and the detailing therein. Again, that's a lot to unpack, and we're happy to answer more questions at the end of the presentation if you have specific questions on how those concepts were reviewed. And then we presented schematic, and they're pretty well developed schematic solutions to the people that were on the design team, including city staff. And these are some clips or still shots from a video that we'll close with at the end of the presentation. Some views of the approach, the experience on the bridge, some of the nodes and transitions, and we actually show an aerial view. This is some more shots. We have actually two renderings showing the alternative truss designs. The one on the top left is the bowstring or arched truss option, and then the one on the right is the Warren or box truss option, and that's relatively from the same view, so we could get an idea of what the two of them would look like in place. And then we further developed the design with materials and details, again, trying to pay homage to what's in the surrounding city and the good things that are already in the specific plan. The portals that lead right into and onto the bridge are important transition areas, and that we have a seating design, carefully designed handrails and carefully chosen materials based on all of the parameters that we researched early on. All of the materials were chosen for technical appropriateness, for context, for maintenance reasons, cost efficiency, and engineering concerns. These are just a few exemplary details from many of the design development details that we produced. And then finally, we're publishing the construction documents, the documents that will be used for approval and construction. And we're producing them for approval, for bidding, for construction. And please note on this sheet, you might notice how it differs from back on slide 9. We've adjusted the concept slightly to reflect the reality and some of the parameters and meet all of the requirements. For instance, the bridge abutments must be located within what you can see here as the red zone on the exhibit to avoid changes to the water surface. It's something we learned after we created the concept. And this zone is approximately 8 foot in width, so it exemplifies one of those constant parameters that we needed to deal with. And then this is also an example of the fine-tuning that takes place once we get to this level. This is just one of many drawings. And another example of construction documents that will be produced for approval and construction. We will make time for questions after a short video. You can, I think you'll be able to see the video up there, or I don't know. Okay. So if we could get that video, please.
The video starts from the pedestrian walkway at Hahn Road and ends at the Central Park walkway. Here, you will see the plaza that serves as a junction between the bridge, the bike path, and the walkway. Seat walls will be provided around it. Portal columns are on every entry of the bridge, with a canopy resembling the roof of the proposed amphitheater. The bridge will have a weathered or tartan finish. There will be sail canopies providing ample shade along the span of the bridge. The circular plaza will bear a City of Menifee marker as a focal point. Here, you will see the connection at the Central Park. Then back to the bridge.
welcoming any questions that you might have. I know that was a lot to cover in a short amount of time, but any questions, general or specific, I think we have team members here that can address anything you have.
You're up.
Okay, hey, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I love the bowstring design. I love how the shade is tied in with the upcoming amphitheater. I had some questions though about the shade sails. What's the material of that? What's the life cycle on that material? How is it maintained? I have shade sails in my backyard, and I just know that they fade quickly. What's the material on that? What's the life cycle? And is there going to be a bike lane on the bridge, or is it to differentiate between walking path and riding path?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Commissioner Faust, all great questions. We are planning to use similar materials that are being proposed for the amphitheater. With the canopy cones at the very front will be very similar material that's going to be used for the amphitheater. It's a little bit more durable than the stuff that you would buy, the sunbrella type of equipment that you would buy at the regular hardware stores. So it is maintainable. It's a polyethylene type product. So that would be the materials we're looking at. The bike lanes itself is going to be very similar to the multi-use path along both sides of the pedestrian bridge. The Paloma Wash. It'll be just a separated, an eastbound, westbound direction. Not really designated for bike lanes, but it is a multi-use path where people can ride their bikes or they can walk, push their stroller, whatever they may be doing through that area.
And the life on those canopies?
That's a pretty long lifetime on the canopies. I don't know offhand. Yeah, this material is probably, I would say, somewhere in, it's much more than 10 years, I know that.
Hypalon material, something like that?
What is it?
Like Hypalon type material?
It's like a polyethylene, HDPE.
HDPE?
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing I did want to add, which probably didn't reflect in the presentation, is we're going to be putting LED lighting on the bridge, and the canopies being white, we'll be able to change the colors of the lighting, so we can, through the seasons and holidays, we can change the colors of the lighting. For instance, Christmas time, we can throw reds and greens up there. 4th of July, reds and blues, to kind of highlight and provide a little bit of ambiance, maybe even as well.
Bill?
Thank you for the presentation. That was one of my questions, was about the lighting. And it also, the bridge itself where people are walking will be lit. Yes. I love the circular plaza idea. I think that's wonderful. I like the whole idea of having a bridge over Paloma Wash and having parking at Countryside Marketplace and food options for people who are attending events at Central Park. What is the width of the bridge?
14 feet?
No. The length or how wide?
How wide it is.
14 feet.
And the trail at Paloma Wash, how wide is that? Do we know?
15.
17. Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Do you have questions, Bill?
Yes. Good presentation, thank you. I especially like the video. That really gave us a good feel of what it would be like to walk across that bridge. I like the idea that you're tying the sails in with the amphitheater. Tie-in's nice entryway. I can live with either the box or the bow, but I kind of lean towards the bow because I think it has a grander entryway as you walk into it. And as far as the sails, I would think they would be similar to what's in the playgrounds out at the parks.
Yeah, Commissioner Payne, I was actually going to interject. It's about the same kind of material. I was double checking with our field supervisor and our Cs, and those have about a 10 to 15-year lifespan.
Yes, I don't see that as a maintenance issue. I think that would be the way to go. And they're working out great in our parks, they seem to be. So, and that's all I have.
So again, great presentation. Just two quick questions. When do you plan on starting construction? And what is the budget, estimated budget, just out of curiosity?
I didn't, we're in the middle of design process, and do you recall, Lori, what the 2.9 is the, but no, that's the current estimate. Current cost estimate. Offhand, I think we have about, I couldn't tell you offhand what our current budget is, but we're working on the cost estimate. Obviously, we haven't finalized all the designs yet. And the cost estimates also include a lot of contingency because we're in the very early phases of design until we start to hone in on the final design process. Unfortunately, I wish I would have had our current budget in there, but we can get that information to you.
And then how do you see, Jonathan, this dovetailing with the amphitheater? Does the egg come first or the chicken? Or do they both get built at the same time?
Yeah, the amphitheater is a little further in the process. You know, we're at a conceptual design for the bridge. At the amphitheater, we're getting to a final design. It's going through plan check right now to get the plans ready to go out to bid. We're hoping to go out to bid for construction on the amphitheater within the next couple months. And then if, depending on how the bids come back and bringing it back to, the commission to check, then to the city council, we could start construction on that within this year. So they're still at this point getting feedback on this design so they can get into that full design process. So the amphitheater is ahead of the bridge at this point.
So in terms of programming, my understanding was you were going to use the marketplace for parking. Without a bridge, you can't do that. So the first year, the programming is either going to be limited or you found an alternative parking lot?
We found an alternative parking lot. I'll hand that over to Mr. Fiddler. He's handling
Oh,
that
look, he
project.
had the answer. That wasn't a setup, so.
No. So
It was really good, though.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for the question, because we have another capital improvement program where we're working on a parking lot for the future Civic Center site. So that process is much further along as well. It's at about 90% design, and we anticipate taking that out to construction this summer as well. One thing I do want to add, though, the bridge structure itself is a much faster construction timeline than the amphitheater, because the timber structures for the amphitheater will take quite some time to construct. The metal truss bowstring will take some time, but I think the two projects might end up marrying up at the end by the time we finish our design and going into construction a little bit later than the amphitheater, but the amphitheater is a much longer construction duration than the pedestrian bridge. But in saying all that, there will be a parking lot just in case.
As we park,
Yeah.
Just one follow-up.
Sure.
Just the access from the Han Road side, did we have to get, is that city property where the plaza will land currently, or we have to do something, purchase land from the developer? How does the owner of the shopping center feel about us using the parking lot for our events? And
So the parking lot the shopping center just to the north of the proposed crossing, we do have to acquire a small easement to get from the Paloma Wash to the curb and gutter sidewalk on Han. It's very minimal. We have contacted the property owner and working through those details to get that little segment to make that connection.
okay, and then finally, what was the material of the floor of the bridge?
It'll be a lightweight concrete product. It's because there's so much activity with strollers and things with small wheels, could be skateboards, rollerblades, whatever. We want to try to get a smooth surface as possible, so we'll come in with some sort of decorative lightweight concrete.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I think we're done. Do you need anything from us, or is this a receive and file, or?
No, it was just to present to the commission the concept, get the feedback. Seems like very much positive feedback on this design. So we'll continue moving forward on getting this into more of that construction phase.
And may I add, it sounded like most of you are in favor of the bowstring truss, so we would like to proceed with that option. And staff, we agree with that decision because we feel that gives more of the architectural features, the roundiness similar to what's happening over at the amphitheater. So that's the direction we'll move forward based on recommendations.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. Have a good evening.
Okay, moving on, discussion item 9.1, request for Quimby Agreement Amendment for Golden Meadows Development. Mr. Nix?
Yes, I'm going to hand this off to Ms. Mitchell to do a presentation.
Good evening, Commission. If I could please have the PowerPoint back up. All right, so our next item on the agenda is a request for a Quimby amendment for Golden Meadows, and this was presented to Commission a while back. Just a little background on the project itself. This is a development, development of 474 dwelling units on 206.8 acres of land. It is located down in like the southwestern portion of Menifee, north of Wickard Road, and I'm going to guess this is east? No, I'm sorry. West of Han, I'm sorry. South of Garbani. So, just to kind of review a little bit of the information, this project was in review and development long before we were established as a city. And the original Quimby agreement was presented to the Parks, Recreation, and Trails Commission back in 2018. It was presented and approved, and then moved on to City Council in November 2018. So some of the particulars of the original Quimby agreement, which was attached to the report, is that based on the size of the acreage and the number of dwelling units, 7.5 acres of parkland was required to be dedicated for this project. Of this project, they had 5.35 acres of Quimby credit, which came about through the development of 3 HOA maintained parks. And then the remainder of the required parkland dedication would have to be paid as in lieu fees to the city of Menifee to reach that 7.5 acres. So that's just a little bit of history on the development project itself. So items for consideration, one of the reasons why this is before the Parks, Recreation, Trails Commission today is that there's 4 distinct phases of development in this project, and the developers, Richland Communities, is actually looking to have a major modification for phase 4 only. So the reason why this is being brought forward as an amendment, because when this was originally approved by PRTC and City Council in 2018, during that time frame and now we had an update to Menifee Municipal Code 7.75, which kind of dictates how we assess our Quimby fees. So some of those changes would affect how the fee assessment is paid out for, or how we assess Quimby fees to developments. Some of the key items are the number of the population per dwelling unit size, and then also the fact that we're actually assessing fees based on actual appraised land value as opposed to a set fee. So kind of making it a little more accurate based on what the land value is for here in the city of Menifee. So a couple things that the developer is proposing for the major modification for phase 4 only is they're increasing the residential density, decreasing the minimum lot sizes, and reconfiguring approved lot lines. So you'll take a look at the map in front of you on the slide. You'll see phases 1, 2, and 3 kind of on the left-hand side, and phase 4 is the area that we're looking to address tonight. So a little more information about the modification. We did say that they were looking to increase the residential density. So for phase 4 only, they're looking to add 98 dwelling units. So taking it from the original 161 for phase 4 to 259, bringing the total dwelling unit from 474 to 571. So again, that net change is 98 homes. So because of that addition, this will require an additional 3.69 acres of parkland dedication above what what they had originally anticipated. So with that, coming forward, city staff have worked with Richland Communities to kind of take a look at what we can do as far as the ability to acquire some Quimby credit. And so where there originally wasn't a plan for a park in Phase 4, there's now a 3-acre park that the city is looking to maintain and to take into our park system, and then also credit for an HOA pool that's going to go into that Phase 4. So with that credit, that would leave 0.032 acres that would need to be paid in fees in lieu of parkland dedication. In the report, we do have the fiscal impact, which phases 1 through 3 remain unchanged. With that, we're going to, which is adhering to the previous Menifee Municipal Code for Quimby assessment. It would just be the Phase 4 that we would have to assess the land value and then multiply that by the 0.32 acres, and that would determine the Quimby assessment. And our last slide is just a little bit of information about the park itself. Again, we don't have a finalized conceptual plan for this park, but here you can see some of the amenities we're looking to bring to the community, which is a full-size basketball court, one-stall restroom, picnic shelter, walking path amenities, typical receptacles, park benches, things of that nature. So that essentially concludes my report. We do have a representative from Richland Communities, Brian Hardy, online, so he's available for questions as well. But you won't see him; he'll be available via Zoom or phone. So if there's any questions, we're happy to answer.
I guess this project's already is approved that Wickard Road is realigned to tie into Garbani. Is that what I'm seeing on the design map? So Wickard kind of curves up through the project site and ties into Garbani?
Yeah, going going north into Gavarni, yes.
Okay. I wonder where it'll change names. I guess as soon as it comes out of the development, it changes names to Garbani. Wickard Road will change names to Garbani, I guess,
Yeah, as it connects, yeah.
as it connects.
Yeah.
And the open space on the northeast corner of the project site, who maintains, is that default to the city property, or is it the developer has to maintain that? And
Are you talking about the square that's right outside of the project site?
yeah, but the right-hand corner of the project,
right.
it's all the hillside and slope and all that. Is that part of, does the HOA maintain that? Does the city maintain that? Or is it the hills, for fire and protection and weed abatement and all that?
I'm going to double check it. Brian, are you on the line? Brian Hardy? I just wanted to double check with the developer. It's either HOA or CFD maintained for the fire mitigation and just general maintenance. I just wanted to double check what we agreed upon for that. But that's that would be outside of the Quimby agreement. That just would be part of the maintenance map that we develop.
Okay, thank you.
Hello?
Oh, hey, Brian, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Yes, it's HOA maintained out there on those slopes. And there's a significant amount of open space out there. It's mainly a hillside of the existing topography out there.
And Commission, that is Brian Hardy from Richland Communities.
Yes, thank you.
A question about the new, the park, the Golden Meadows new park. Is there going to be parking? Couldn't really tell on looking at the schematic.
We didn't anticipate having a parking lot for that park. It's mainly street parking considering the size, and we anticipate that a majority of the folks in the neighborhood would mostly walk, very similar to like Silver Star Park and some of the other similar sized parks we have in the city.
Okay, Thank you. And an HOA pool, that's for the homeowners of that development, is that correct?
That's correct, and that's why we're only recommending a partial credit, and that's how we have the ordinance for Quimby written, that we'd give partial credit to private amenities.
All right, thank you.
My assumption is the first 3 phases are completed to this point?
No construction has started yet.
Oh, okay, it hasn't started. Sorry. Okay, well, I think it's nice the city's getting a small neighborhood park in there. As far as scheduling any recreation activities, I would assume it'd be minimal because it's a local park there. So that's all questions I have.
So do we have any feedback for council we want to share? I see a mic on, but I'm not hearing.
Yeah, in the packet, I just wanted to clarify on Golden Meadows Park's conceptual landscape plan shows, I thought it referenced soccer field. Was that under the control of the HOA, the soccer field, or is that a public soccer field?
Are you referencing the original Quimby agreement? Where it
Oh,
has the landscape?
that was in the original design for that area?
Yes, that's for phases 1 through 3.
Oh, that's over in 1 through 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the maps 1 through 3, those park amenities are staying the same. We're only making the change to map 4.
Okay.
If I may, the HOA parks are publicly available, even though they are, with the exception of the pool, that's obviously a private amenity. But the HOA maintained parks like the little dog park and the actual soccer field, the intent is that those would be publicly available but maintained by the HOA.
So do we have any comments, or are we good? Hearing none? Okay, let's move on to item 9.2, committee appointments. How do you want to approach this? Jonathan?
Back to item 9.1, is there any kind of recommendation that the city council or that the
They
commission?
had no
wants to make?
recommendations. I asked twice.
Okay,
Want me to ask the third time?
that's fine.
Okay. Committee appointments. How would you like to approach it?
I'm going to hand this over to Ms. Mitchell.
So here we are again.
Seems like yesterday.
So yes, we are looking to fill some of our vacancies because, as you know, we had some change in the makeup of our committee or commission. So some of the ones that we want to make sure that we do revisit today, I know that we just had appointed Commissioner Faust to the Menifee Citizens Advisory Committee. 2023 is the start of a whole new 2-year commitment. So we'll want to revisit this if Commissioner Faust would like to continue with that. But we do need to fill the vacant spot that Commissioner Gidroyce had recently vacated. Some of the other ones that we need to look at are the Parks Master Plan Ad Hoc Committee, and then also the Riverside County Transportation Commission, Menifee Specialized Transit Working Group. So those are the areas that we have vacancies, and that's what we would like for our commission to consider.
Okay, so I'll take a stab at this, and we'll see how it goes. So Commissioner Faust, would you like to remain on the new 2-year committed Menifee Citizen Advisory Committee?
Yes.
Is there anybody else that would like to fill the vacancy? Raise your hand. I see one hand raised. Okay, so
interested.
you're not interested?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we'll give it to, we're going to give it to Bill. So that fills that slot.
Bill
have the-
Ackerman.
Yeah, I'm going to call him William and him Bill.
Okay.
Will that work? We're going to give it to William. Next, we have the Teen Awards Select Committee. Would Commissioner Ackerman like to remain on that committee?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowen is not here this evening. Is there anybody else that would like to serve on that committee? By show of hand. Seeing none. Unless she has opposition, I'm going to suggest that committee's fine. Next, we have the Park Master Plan Ad Hoc Committee. Commissioner Ackerman, would you like to remain on that committee?
Yes.
By show of hand, who else would like to fill the vacancy? We have a tie. You're okay with that? Okay, so I'm going to fill the vacancy on the master plan. Next, we have the Parks Make Life Better Ad Hoc Committee. I am no longer interested in serving on that. Commissioner Faust, how about you? Yeah, I'll remain. So
I'll remain on it.
What's that?
I'll remain on that.
Okay, so we have a vacancy on the Parks Make Life Better Committee. By show of hands, would one of the commissioners like to be on that? Okay, that will be Bill. We're doing good so far? We have the Riverside County Transportation Committee, or Commission for Menifee. We need a, let's see. I was just appointed to that, right?
Yes,
not too
we had
long
an
ago.
alternate because I believe another commissioner was interested in serving on that committee, so we
added an
decided to select an alternate, but we don't necessarily need one.
It's probably not a bad idea in case.
Probably not.
Okay, I'd like to remain on that commission. By show of hands, is anyone interested in the vacant position? So we have Bill on the Specialized Transit Working Group. Next, we have the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. Commissioner Faust, would you like to remain on that committee?
Yes.
And I'm going to step aside from that since I'm on the Master Plan Committee. By show of hands, who would like to take that vacancy? Anybody? Bill's on 3 already, first night. Okay, I think that fills the cards, right? You need me to do anything else with that? Okay, thank you. Thanks for making that easy, everybody. We've already looked at 9.3, so we're, I believe, on to 10, the 10s, right? So 10.1, director comments.
Just a few comments. Although, I just wanted to clarify that although my position has changed with the city, I will still remain the Community Services Director, working with this commission and working with this department. We have a really good team with Mariana, Bryce. I don't know if all of you have met Aaron, our field supervisor. He's out there with the maintenance team on a daily basis, and the maintenance team that also oversees facilities. So I just wanted to, although I know that announcement went out, I'm still working in the capacity of the Community Services Director as well. So just wanted to clarify that in addition to helping out with some of the city internal functions like human resources and special projects. So. A lot of fun, yeah. Also, continuing the comments, we applied for the urban greening grant, and just as a reminder, that is a funding source, a little over $500,000 to purchase land from the Faith Lutheran Church in Sun City for a potential Sun City Park. So we got to phase 2 of the grant application process in November, where the state actually came down, did an interview. Former Commissioner Gidroyce participated in that, and we were just notified a few weeks ago that we are now in phase 3, the final phase. So I want to say there was something like $91 million in requests, but only $40 million available. So we're getting down to the final phase here. So we're hoping that we're in the process of submitting when I say we, I mean Mariana, submitting a lot of documents to the state that they're asking for, and hopefully once we've completed all that process, we're hoping to get a final notification. Once we receive that, we'll definitely inform the commission, and it'll probably be some kind of grant agreement that we'd bring back to City Council, so very excited about that. There's also an opportunity, we were contacted by Supervisor Washington's office for some potential ARPA funding. This funding from this grant is for the acquisition of the land, but we were contacted on maybe there's some potential from the supervisor's office to get ARPA funding for the construction of the park, which would be fantastic. We can buy the land and then build the park without using any general fund. So we're working with Supervisor Washington's office on that as well, and we'll continue to provide updates to the commission as we move forward. Also, wanted to mention in 2 weeks, the City Council is having another special meeting, a strategic planning workshop. I know Commissioner Bangle participated in a focus group for that, so we're still moving forward with that. The next meeting is February 15th at 3 o'clock. If any of the commissioners would like to attend, there are some park and open space items that have been discussed, and we're actually, just to also give an update, we're making sure that this process concludes before we finalize the master plan. So this is one of the final workshops for the strategic visioning plan. And the council is hoping to adopt that in March, and then during that timeframe, we'll get to almost a final draft that we can bring back to the commission on the Parks, Recreation, and Trails Master Plan, and hope having a schedule of hopefully completing that by May. So we're completing this, getting that vision, and then tying the two documents together. I know the commission was wanting to make sure that all of that was in alignment, so I just want to give that update. And that is all my director's comments.
Chair Bangle, just one question. What's the property size there for the potential Sun City Park?
It's a little under 2 acres.
About 2 acres?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just large enough for a dog park.
Oh. Also, I'm sorry, I have one more. The graphic that is there, I just wanted to mention that City of Menifee, for the 5th year in a row, was named the top workplace by the Inland News Group. So it's a very prestigious honor. There's not a lot of government agencies that receive that. It's done through a survey process of all the employees and their satisfaction of working here in the City of Menifee. I think maybe it's due to the fact that this guy's been working here all 5 of those years and doing a great job. Aaron and I actually started about the same time. So it's a really good honor for the city to continue to maintain that, and we have some really good employees that serve this community. Parks in progress, I'll take this one. Underwood Park, that's number 1 over there, that's being constructed by KB Homes. It's a 10-acre park with sports fields. We are waiting for Edison to energize the park. Most of it is constructed. We're just waiting for KB Homes to coordinate with Southern California Edison to get the electrical power there so we can finalize. Right now it's on temp power just for the irrigation to make sure that all the grass and plants are staying alive out there. Not too much of a problem right now with all the rain, but we need that final energy connection for the restroom building and then for all the sports field lights out there. Banner Park, number 2, right there off of Dominigoni, Pulte Homes is building that park. They've done a lot of the underground work, the sewer system, the kind of flat work out there, and they're submitting all their everything for the finishes, the playground equipment and all that's under review, but they're making some headway. We're hoping to get that one done and constructed sometime this calendar year. Remington Park is fully constructed. That's number 3. It's really close to Underwood Park. That one's being built by Lennar. So we started the 90-day maintenance period in December 1st, so we're hoping to bring that forward for turning it over to make it an official city park sometime around March, which would also prompt a grand opening for that park. So we're working on that. Once we have a date of that official turnover to the city and a grand opening, definitely let this commission know so we can all be there to cut the ribbon. And then, and then just a few facts. So Remington Park's a 5-acre park. We have that all-inclusive playground there. I believe that's where we have the zip line as well. Yeah, so very excited about that. That's our first zip line in a park. Quartz Ranch, that's number 4. That's very close to our office. That's being built by Lennar as well. That's Evans and La Piedra. That's the one that came before the commission asking for a little more time to construct that park. They're even though it's February, they're still on that schedule. We're holding them to that to complete that park by May. They're really moving out there. And then Legato, number 5. There's a few park amenities right now that's 1,000 homes being built. There's supposed to be there will be a 13-acre sports park with that construction. Right now, they're just on the very preliminary grading phase for the whole site right now. And that is the parks in progress. Any questions on any of those?
Chair Bangle. Jonathan, the commissioner, several of the commissioners visited Underwood. We had that tour day.
Yes.
And I thought Edison was like the holdup way back then, 2-3 months ago. And do they say what's their holdup?
It still is. KB Homes is having a really tough time getting them out there and scheduled to make that final connection.
Because everything's pretty much done out there.
Yeah, when you walk out there, it looks like this thing's done.
I mean, you guys have had to disable some of the playground equipment to prevent people from hopping the fences and stuff to get in there, I guess. I guess remove basketball nets and things like that, I guess, hoops. Great, and do you know if, at Quartz Ranch, did they open up Evans all the way through that
Not
development?
yet. You can
Still the issue with the gas line that they have to lower?
Yeah, they have to fix that on the Holland side. So on La Piedra, you can enter Evans, but you can't go all the way through to Holland yet.
Great, thanks.
Very good. Solid waste and recycling update. Is that Corey? Or is it Mariana? Who wants to do it? That's Corey. Okay.
I'll take that. Good evening. So I have a few updates for the solid waste and recycling programs. So next Saturday, February 11th, will be our first bulky item community drop-off event of the year held at MSJC. I am happy to report that we will be able to take a limited number of used tires at this event. I know that is a common question that we get every time we have these. So we'll be accepting e-waste, your common bulky items, appliances, and like I said, a limited number of used tires, residents only, no commercial waste. On February 15th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., we will have another business webinar, and this time we'll be highlighting the Menifee Business Assistance Program, which is something that Council approved last mid-year budget. Under this program, businesses who are seeking to meet the state requirements for training and having proper signage and having additional services for recycling are eligible to receive up to $1,000 reimbursement for eligible expenses or a one-time on-site training from Aptim Environmental Services. And so that would be covered under the program. So to find out about that, please, businesses are encouraged to attend that meeting. Some other collateral that we've been working on, one of the requirements under SB 1383 is to ensure that your public collateral is translated into English and Spanish, so we've been working on that. We have some additional business collateral that we'll be mailing out to certain areas, business areas such as Cherry Hills Plaza, to inform smaller businesses of any requirements that may be they may need to adhere to based on the state mandate. And brief update on the senior bill credit program, the $50 senior bill credit program. We've approved 2,645 credits, just over $130,000. And council voted last night to, or not voted, or just recommended that we, oh, sorry, I don't have those numbers up there. Do I have a clicker? Okay, there we go. So that program will end for the time being. Should the city receive any grant funding in the future that could support that program coming back, then we will bring that back to council. There are also kitchen pails and refrigerator magnets still available at the Community Services Administrative Office, detailing what goes into which bin, which are free for the community to pick up.
Okay, we'll move on to Recreation Division update.
All right, as usual, we provide monthly numbers based on our attendance and revenue. January tends to be a little bit of a slow month for us when it comes to special events, but that doesn't mean any of our classes or activities stop. So you can see our contract class registration continues to increase month after month, and our attendance is holding steady regardless of the winter weather. Some information on the recreation side of the Community Services Department. I'm just going to pick a few things that I want to highlight. One is that we have an upcoming President's Week camp that's available to our youth. Parents who are looking for somewhere to drop their children off during that week. We used to have President's Day. Now they have President's Week, where they will be out of school. Lazy Creek is more than happy to help with that. So on February 21st through the 24th, from 8:30 to 5:30, we do have a President's Week camp that is available. A couple other things to highlight is that we have our senior transportation workshop that is continuing to take place at the Case and Acero Senior Center. For anybody who may know an HOA or a local senior group that may want us to come out to visit them, we recognize senior transportation means you don't have transportation. So if we need to go out into the community, we are open to doing that as well. So we encourage anybody who's interested in hosting a workshop, either at their local HOA or community group, to give us a call at the Case and Acero Senior Center. We'll be more than happy to arrange that for you. I'm going to move on into special events, just because we have a few things that are coming up in the month of February. A lot of our youth programs are up and running. One thing we want to put out there is that we do have a teen trip that is open to teens of Menifee, and we are actually going to Six Flags Magic Mountain. This has been on the wish list of our youth leaders of Menifee for quite some time, so we're making it happen. It is on February 23rd from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. We encourage anybody who's interested to sign up as soon as you can, because we anticipate that this is going to sell out quickly. We also have a youth art contest focusing on recycled art. The deadline for that is February 24th. And then also on that same day, we're going to be hosting our quarterly art affair. And this month in February, we're focusing on Black History Month. And that will be at the Case and Acero Senior Center from 5 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a night of live music, art displays, local artists, and we typically have some food vendors out there. So we welcome the Menifee residents to come on out and make a night of that. And I believe that concludes my report.
Okay, I'll continue with capital improvement program update. I'm going to go right into the pictures. So Lyle Marsh Playground and John Denver Pickleball Court, this was one of our projects to do some safety fencing around these areas. The playground at Lyle Marsh is all-inclusive playground, so we heard from some families that they would like that safety fencing around there, so that is actually fully complete. And then also at the pickleball court for John Denver to kind of keep those pickleballs in there and not going all over the place. So those two are done. And then also at Lyle Marsh, we're working on that permanent restroom there, the prefabricated restroom, working with EMWD. You can see they kind of cut into the street already, made that sewer water line connection there, and we're prepping the site to get that prefabricated restroom dropped in there. So we're hoping to order the restroom. The restroom's already been ordered, but ordered the delivery of the restroom in the next few weeks and get it all done there. Okay. And then I'm going to hand it over to Aaron to give the maintenance division update.
Okay, quick update from our maintenance division. I'll just go over some of our work order numbers. This last period, we were submitted 117 work orders. We completed 100, had 4 canceled, and have 13 pending. You can kind of see from the pie chart how those were distributed. Our irrigation landscape has kind of gone down. Obviously, with the weather, we haven't had to run irrigation near as much as we normally do. Vandalism has had a little bit of an uptick, so that's taken up some of our time. Also, our park ranger activities over the last 3 months, park visits from 289 to 400 and 411. And our tree and plant replacement that we've been doing, we've planted 335 new plants, and we just installed 250 cubic yards of mulch along Hahn Road recently to beautify that whole shopping center area. And that's the update on that.
That's also Greg Humana, one of our hardworking maintenance workers right there. Okay, put it back to commissioner reports on committee activities.
Okay, do we have any committee reports, starting from the right?
Just one. I was able to attend my first meeting of Menifee, let's see, what am I appointed to? Menifee Citizens Advisory Committee. And meeting last, I think it was early December, and where we were able to select from all the monthly Citizens of the Month awardees a Citizen of the Year, and so it was a great, and Tom Gidroyce was part of that too, when he was serving to select Paige Stowe, who was the Citizen of the Year, who's a young high school student from our city, and it was just it was a great opportunity to be a part of that. And that's all I have.
I attended the Teen Awards Selection Committee on January 26th for the Winter 2023 Awards. We selected an all-star athlete, inspiring academic, and outstanding citizen, be presented at the February 15th City Council meeting, And it's just a wonderful thing that the Women's Club is doing, sponsoring this. A lot of great applicants and some hard decisions on who got what, but appreciate being on that committee.
And you weren't on any committees, so you're looking at future agenda items, Jonathan. You received, your department received a pretty sizable grant from Riverside County. I thought it used to be on here. Did we remove it for some reason?
It is an item that we're actively working on. Although the city council approved the MOU, I want to say in May or June of last year, the county didn't approve it until the end of November, so that put us on a little bit of a hold. We went out for bid immediately after that was finalized. And just to clarify for the rest of the commission and maybe whoever is listening, this is a $100,000 grant that the county is providing to study continuing the Salt Creek Trail, through the city, because it currently terminates at Antelope Road. So we did put it out for an RFP for proposals. We did not receive any responses. I think we maybe could have done a better job on the timing because we're competing with ourselves, because we also had the Complete Streets grant, our Complete Streets proposal out at the same time. So it's currently out right now for proposals, and we received a lot of interest in it. So once we go through the scoring process and go through that to find a consultant, we'll provide an update to the commission. So that's why it's not a future agenda item, because we are working on it.
Working on it?
Yeah.
And it didn't make sense to maybe just do an additive alternate to your existing contractor that's doing the master plan?
We went over that with our finance department. They instructed us that the scope of work was too different to do that, and they instructed us to go this way. It doesn't preclude them from bidding on
From
this.
bidding.
Yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, and this isn't a city project, but it's within the city. The county, I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago, it was going to put some artwork underneath the freeway at Salt Creek. Whatever came of that? Because now there's graffiti.
Yeah, I haven't heard any updates from the county, but we can look into that and see if we can give an update at the next meeting. But yeah, I also heard about that, doing a mural there, right there
Yes.
where we go into the 215 freeway on Salt Creek, which would be a very nice place to do. But yeah, I haven't heard any updates.
I'm a little
recently.
concerned because the person pushing it worked for a supervisor who just lost. So I'm concerned now the project's gone. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but,
Yeah, I'll follow up with county parks and see where that's at.
okay. I think it was with their historic commission.
Okay, very good
Okay.
now.
Do we have any other future agenda item requests, starting to the right?
I do, Chair Bangle. I'd like to ask if staff could prepare a brief presentation on how our ball fields are allocated, the fees, the scheduling, the priorities. We've all gotten correspondence from some of the leagues with concerns that I'm sure you're very well aware of. But could you kind of help us understand the process and how that's done?
Yeah, we definitely can do that, just so that the commission is aware. We are in the process of reevaluating our current policy. Just as the city has grown, as our practices have evolved, we're looking at an opportunity to kind of get some engagement from our leagues, because we've heard some feedback, and we want to make sure that our policy truly and accurately reflects what we're capable of doing. Ball fields in particular, for baseball fields, we have 4 fields to allocate, so it's a little tough for us, but definitely wanted to make sure that the priorities for us as an organization align with what we're capable of doing for our local leagues. So we have been in communication with some of our leagues, and we're working closely with them to get their feedback. And before we finalize the policy, we do plan on bringing it to PRTC for evaluation feedback, and then we can put it into place before the next allocation period, which is going to be, I believe, we normally start looking at this in the spring. So I anticipate we'll be able to bring this in either April or May.
Do you need a second to make sure that's on the agenda so we don't lose track of it?
Yes, please.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Perfect.
Second. Okay. Anything else for future agenda? Anything else at all?
Just maybe a master plans update status?
We're currently receiving a draft chapters. We're meeting with KTUNA about every couple of weeks. So they're sending us, we're on like chapter 4 right now, or chapter 5, and so it's going to be probably about 7 chapters altogether. We're hoping to have all of the chapters to us sometime middle to end of February, and then bringing that back to the commission. I'm not sure if we'll be able to hit the beginning of March. We might have to call a special meeting, maybe a little bit later in March for a focused review of the draft. And we definitely want to make sure that the commission has time to read it and understand it, do a presentation on it before we put it out for a final public review and city council adoption.
And one of the concepts that they talked about, maximizing the usage of existing facilities. What was the term for that?
They're looking at an infill opportunity.
Infill, that's the word I was looking for, infill opportunities. And I know dog park is on future agenda items, and we certainly need another dog park, but I've just had a lot of strong feelings that Peterson Park needs a major revamp and maybe even an expansion. It seems like there's room there at Peterson to expand it, and being it's the only dog park on the west side, and maybe part of that spirit of infill that wouldn't have to wait for a 5-year plan, but it could be something that we look at. What are the potential possibilities of expanding the existing dog park there and enhancing it?
Definitely noted, and that's why on the future agenda items, all of these concepts that were previously brought up by the commission, we're making sure that the consultant looks at all of those opportunities where, and that's a great suggestion. Instead of constructing a whole new park, could we put a dog park an existing, or, as you said, revamp and expand our current dog park?
Okay. If there's nothing else, I just want to congratulate you again on your promotion. I want to welcome Commissioner Payne to the committee. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a great working group. I want to thank everyone else for allowing me to serve as the chair the last year. It's truly been an honor. I've enjoyed it. And I wish Commissioner Ackerman and Commissioner Faust the best of luck in their efforts to lead us into 2023. So with that, if there's nothing else, I'll call for adjournment. Thank you.